Hey everyone, I am back to talk about some things that I've been seeing in the news feeds, and I think this is super interesting right now. And you probably have seen it already about a Gen Zer who started a job and lost a job within 2 weeks. And I'm like, man, that's really something to be paying attention to. What happened here? So I'm going to show a little bit of a clip because Homegirl took it off her TikTok and I completely understand why she did. I'll get into that more in a second. But I just wanted to share this really quick and give my thoughts and honestly get some of your thoughts too. So this is the clip that's on the New York Post that they were able to take before baby girl took it off of her TikTok. So this is her.
I drive to work this morning for my 5th shift. Our CEO is standing there with an envelope in his hand. We're letting you go, Sierra. That's how I got fired this morning from a job that I have not even got to start.
Okay, so that was the crux of it. I'm sure they probably talked about more than that, but basically she said, look, I wasn't trained. I showed up here. Nobody's helping me. I think it's important that we not look at this issue as black and white, right? I feel like older generations are like, oh, Gen Z is lazy. They said the same thing about us, about millennials. Oh, we're lazy. But I can see for her how that can be stressful and traumatic. Of like, dang, I showed up to work and I just got fired. I've been fired before. That wasn't my response, but I get it. But before we will judge the situation, I got a couple of questions. One is, what was your attitude as a new hire? So from the clip, I don't know if she just got fired and then hopped in the car to go home, but just by her presence, even though, yes, we have more relaxed workplaces, I'm like, did you go to work with your Mickey Mouse sweatshirt on? She had attitude. I get it. So I wonder if that was the attitude that she was showing up to work in. For you to be there for less than 2 weeks and they're like, nope, I'm ready for you to go. That's the first thing that I'm thinking. And then according to the rest of the article and some of the captions, that this happened in front of people, so that they were meeting about her. So that tells me she probably ticked some people off. Her response is, oh, they didn't train me. They didn't. Something's missing in this story for me. But just from my observation, she ticked some people off. Next question I would ask is, what was this training schedule like? What's the learning curve that's set by the company? I speak about this a lot. I think companies should have a learning curve. They should have an idea of what it takes for someone to just have second nature about a role, and they need to communicate that to the candidate. Now, maybe they didn't have that. Maybe they were missing something. She has the perception that she wasn't getting work. She wasn't getting what she needed on the other end. So that would be my next question. What was the training curve? Because then you can, or learning curve, because then you can hold someone accountable to that. Then what was the culture of the company? Maybe she didn't fit into the culture of the company. You can't just necessarily fire somebody for that. There's laws around it, but there's also a trial period, right? A 30, 60, 90-day trial period of which it becomes a little bit more difficult to fire you after then based on if you're meeting the criteria. But if she didn't know the criteria, A and B, if there's a culture clash, then I can see it not being a good fit. But this happening in such a short turnaround of time, like I said, she took somebody off, or there was a culture dynamic, I think, that happened. But the way they went about it, it makes me concerned. And if she maybe have a lawsuit on her hands. So like I mentioned before, she took the video down. I actually applaud her for that, because if she is applying for other jobs, this has gone viral and her whole face and her name is on this video. And employers do look. I've been one of those people, leaders, looking up people on their socials. And now that's viral. That's going to be the first thing that pops up. Now, I was still able to find this video on the New York Post, so she's got to be careful about that. But I completely understand why she took that video down. Now, what can we as millennials? I feel like now we're kind of like the big brother, the big sister in the workplace at this point to our Gen Zers. What advice can we give them? How can we support someone like this young lady here? One thing I would say is, she was just out of college, so get a mentor or something. Don't assume that you know anything, quite frankly. Yep, we got some schooling under our belts. Maybe we've done some freelance work and we feel pretty good about ourselves, but it doesn't hurt for you to get a mentor, especially if this is your first time out in the corporate world. There are ins and outs that you can check out, see, read blogs about, but until you are in it, you just don't know. And that's just the fact of the matter. Or joining a networking organization. Pay attention to how the people conduct themselves and just learn. And I have a blog about this on my website about what career season you're in. And for her, she's a newbie, she's green. So I don't care how skilled you are, there are other skills in the workplace. There's other behaviors and professionalism that you should have in the workplace that you have not had time to exercise yet. So sit back, be quiet, observe, pay attention. Don't just jump into something. And I'll tell you, in hiring people, that's one annoyance that I have had. People that come in at any level and say, okay, this is what you need to do. This is what you need to fix. That's pretty presumptuous and arrogant, and you don't know anything. So now I already have, I feel some kind of way towards you if you are jumping into something and giving your opinion when you don't even fully know the scope of what's going on. She needs some accountability. She needs to build a relationship with someone that's going to tell her like it is, but someone that she's able to build trust with first, of saying, hey, you kind of walk around with a chip on your shoulder. That's not going to help you in your career. So that's me as a millennial, a piece of advice that I would give her. But I'd like to know from you, from other millennial leaders, what would you say to a Gen Zer who has had this experience or has this attitude? I want to hear from you. So go ahead and put it in the comments, and I'll be sure to chat back, because this is a great conversation that we need to be helping our fellow brothers, sisters, and in the workplace out with. So let me know what you think, and I'll see you in the next video.